Beautiful humans, welcome back to Safe Space with Kira Graves. Happy 2024. It's good to see you. This is my very first episode of 2024. It's good to be back. It's good to be talking to you guys again. Today, I want to talk to you about my personal goal / intention for 2024. I'm very curious to know what your intentions are for 2024. Comment them below if you have one. One of my intentions for 2024, well, I have a few. And they're always intentions. They're not necessarily like goals per se, because honestly, like I'm just letting the universe decide like what the fuck is going to happen this year. I have actually no idea. Other than like doing my podcast and posting on YouTube, like I have no idea what else I'm going to do this year. I know it's going to be awesome. I know I'm going to be doing creative stuff, but it just like hasn't come into my mind yet. Like I don't have a clear awareness of what it's going to be. But I think it's just going to unfold naturally and I trust the process. You'll still see me on the podcast, so don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. So instead of like career goals and stuff like that for 2024, my intention is inner peace. And with inner peace, I've realized comes being so keenly present, so alert, so present in my everyday life. And that is fucking hard to do. I can do it. But think about it, okay? What does being present really mean? I recently read a book in like 2 weeks. It's called The New Earth or A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. Don't know. I read his other book, The Power of Now, last year and it changed my fucking life. And so this year I found this book at a Goodwill and I was just like, this is the universe giving me a book, like putting it right in front of my face and telling me, read this book, Kira. It's $1. You can't complain. Just buy it. So I read A New Earth so quickly. Like I started it the day before Christmas and then I finished it yesterday, which was January 8th. This is going to tie into like my New Year's goal and stuff, so just bear with me. This book, first of all, go buy it. Go read that shit because that is some wisdom. That is some straight up wisdom. This man just speaks the truth. And I know it deep in my bones because when I read it, I resonate like wholeheartedly with it. And it makes me happy and it makes me relieved. We get so caught up in the contemporary world that we're in, and most people are completely unconscious, which means they're following their ego. They're following their ego's orders. They're so completely tripped up in their ego's needs and wants, constantly thinking, brain on overload. And trust me, this is also me. This is like, I'm not the exception to this. Like probably 98% of the population is like this, constantly in a cycle of endless thoughts. Have you ever just felt like you can't get a break from your thoughts? That's what I'm talking about. But have you ever felt the feeling of being so completely aware, alert, present, that you don't really have any other thoughts going on other than what you're perceiving with your five senses? Oftentimes people can experience this feeling of presence when they're traveling, right? They're in a new place and they have to be super, super alert of what's going on. And I feel like in my experience, like when I travel, everything's new. Everything I'm perceiving, the sights, sounds, tastes, feelings, they're all new. So we're almost on like alert mode when we're traveling. Whereas if we're just walking down the street in our like neighborhood, we kind of like tune out what's going on around us. And we're most likely trapped in our thoughts, right? You might have also felt this sense of presence when you're in nature, for example. Maybe you just hiked to a waterfall and you're just like totally immersed in the experience. You don't have thoughts going on. You're just so there in the now. This feeling is the feeling that I want to cultivate more often in 2024. But that requires so much awareness, so much conscious awareness of catching myself when my ego is getting me trapped in thought loops. most of which are fake scenarios, you know? The ego loves to make up fake scenarios, especially in my head, to try and like predict what's going to happen in the future, because I always like to be prepared. So I feel like my ego in particular is very caught up in like, okay, Kira, like we're going to like walk into a restaurant and immediately like find out where the bathroom is so that we know where the bathroom is in case we have to pee or in case we have to like throw up for some random reason. Like I feel like my brain does this a lot. It like tries to predict scenarios of what's going to happen. And most often, those scenarios they're not real. They don't actually come to life. They're just made up imaginary worlds in my head. My brain especially likes to do this before bed. It's so annoying. Sometimes I can't sleep because I have these thoughts, and I'm sure a lot of you can relate to this. As a very common thing, I think. But if you can practice being more aware of your thoughts, that is the first step to presence, to being present in the moment, in the now. Because when you're in the now, you are completely peaceful. You are completely at ease. You are completely feeling your true nature, which is peaceful. And believe it or not, everyone's true nature is peace. Everyone's true nature is feeling calm and grounded. But a lot of us find it really, really difficult to actually achieve that because of this busy fucking world and society that we live in. There's so much stimulation and there's so many distractions that try to distract you from being present, like your phone, your TV, your work, right? A lot of people get caught up in work, anxiety, right? And this is like the normal state of people, is like constant stream of thinking. But when I've been able to practice so much mindfulness that I can actually escape those thoughts and come back to my original state of being, which is inner peace, I'm like, where has this been all along? Like, where has this feeling been all along? And I think a lot of us are like searching for that feeling. And maybe we search for it in a substance. Maybe we search for it, scrolling on social media. Because when we do those things, our thoughts quiet down. But as Eckhart says in his book, that's falling below thought. But what we want to do is rise above thought. Rising above thought, though, requires a lot more concentration, focus, presence. Are you here right now with me? Or are you drifting off? Are you thinking about what you're going to eat for lunch? I bet you were just eagerly waiting to hear what I was going to say with that pause. Were you present in that pause? Because oftentimes when we're anxiously awaiting what someone's going to say next, we're present, we're alert. We don't have any thoughts, we're just there in the moment. So I'm wondering, did you have that experience when you just waited for me to say my next sentence? And if you did, that's presence. When we cultivate more presence in our lives, we're not so overtaken by thoughts and anxiety and fear and worry and obsessive thinking, right? So the first step to achieving this, like I said, is just noticing when you start getting overtaken by thoughts. And this is definitely a work in progress. This is a practice. This does not come overnight. This might take you your whole life to train your brain to do that. I'm starting to do it a lot more. I find that mindfulness practices really help. Like I go to this place every week called Othership, where it's guided breath work in a sauna and a cold plunge in an ice bath. And then we go back into the sauna and we do more breathing and meditating. And the whole time I'm at this place, I'm in the present moment. Like, because we do so much breath work and so much felt sense awareness, which means being aware of how our body's feeling. So that's one way that you can access this feeling of presence, is paying attention to your body, bodily awareness. So let's do a little exercise now. Just for a moment, close your eyes. Try to bring your awareness to the tips of your fingers. See if you can feel a very subtle vibration of energy. Could be tingling, could be pulsing, could be vibrating. Can you feel anything at the tip of your fingers? Now move to your palms. Can you feel anything in your palms? I can feel kind of like a pulsing for sure. Might be my heartbeat. I can also just feel this like energy field emanating from my palms when I focus on it. How did you feel during that exercise? Let me know. Let me know in the comments. Right then and there, we were present. And how good did that feel? How good did it feel to just not have to think about anything, not have to worry about anything, but just like feel how our body feels? And this might take some practice. You might not get this on the first try. You can do this for your full body as well. A type of meditation is called a body scan that is about felt sense awareness. So it's basically just feeling what your body feels like right now. And that right there, that is your essence. That is your consciousness. Isn't that so cool? Another way that we can stop the incessant cycle of thinking is noticing our breath, watching it. We don't have to think about breathing. Our body, or the consciousness that inhabits our body, just does it for us. So try to see if you can watch your breath. I'm going to give you like a minute or so, and I'm going to do it as well. And let's just like watch our breath, and don't try and change it. Don't judge anything you're feeling. Just kind of watch it, notice it, feel it. Feel the air moving into your lungs. Feel your lungs, it's expanding and retracting. Feel the cool air moving into your nose and the warm air moving out of your nose. Feel what that feels like. Feel what it feels like to feel your chest expanding and retracting. Is your breath shallow? Is it deep today? Whatever it feels like is a-okay. There you go. You just meditated. You were just present in the now. Maybe that was your first time meditating. Congrats if it was. So by doing mindfulness practices more often throughout the day, you'll start to get used to just being present in the moment. Another scenario you might have felt presence is, when you're really fucking tired and like you have no energy to think about anything, you're just kind of like sitting on the couch and staring into space. That's presence. That's meditating. That is feeling your consciousness. And in that space is where the inner peace comes from. It doesn't come from thinking. It doesn't come from thinking about inner peace. It's about feeling it and getting quiet enough to feel it. It takes a lot of focus, but once you start doing it more and you practice it, it's a practice, right? The more you'll get better at it, and the more that you will actually just feel that way without even trying. Another thing that kind of comes up when I try to meditate is intrusive thoughts. This might be just me and my anxiety brain. I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder and OCD when I was young. So I'm not sure if that's just like me. My mentor, Wendy Braun, said when she first started meditating, she felt like meditating was like worrying with your eyes closed. And I feel like that is so relatable. And oftentimes, even when I meditate now, I've been practicing meditation for several years now. And still sometimes it feels like worrying with my eyes closed. But sometimes, even if it's for like a minute or two, I can actually achieve stillness of mind. And that's an accomplishment in itself. Long story short is that in 2024, I want to achieve inner peace. And how am I going to do that? Through presence, through being in the present moment as often as I can. and this is a practice, you don't have to be so ruled by your thoughts. Thoughts at the end of the day are just thoughts. They're just frequencies. They're just vibrations going in and out of your brain. Just because you have a certain thought, it doesn't mean that it's true, and it doesn't mean that it's going to happen, and it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you if you have bad thoughts. However, I understand that thoughts can have a really big impact on our well-being. Think about it. If you have an anxious thought about, oh my God, did I leave the stove on when I left the house? Suddenly, maybe you'll feel butterflies in your stomach. Maybe you'll feel like you have to shit, right? Maybe you have to run to the bathroom, or maybe you feel like suddenly your heart rate goes up and you have to run back to the apartment and check if the stove is off. Your body is constantly reacting to your thoughts. And I think I've talked about this on the podcast before, but a way that we can notice anxiety is taking a hold of us is if we start to feel uneasy, if we start to feel sick, if there's an unpleasant feeling in our body, that most likely stemmed from a thought. And maybe it was a subconscious thought. Maybe you actually weren't even aware that you had this thought, but it did run through your brain and you attached to it. You identified with the thought. You were like, yes, this is true. But believe it or not, you can actually witness those thoughts and choose not to attach yourself to them. You can just notice it as a thought and nothing more than a thought. Peace of mind is available to you right now. Peace of mind isn't something that you have to strive for in the future. Peace of mind is something you can cultivate right now in the present moment. And in fact, that's the only way that you can feel peace of mind is in the present moment. Because time is a weird thing and time is a construct. And it's only really purposeful here on Earth, if we have an appointment or if we have to get somewhere, right? But in the timeless universe, there is no time. We can't really do anything in the future. We can only do things now. So honestly, this is a message to myself, Kira, is that, I said for 2024, I want to feel more inner peace. Well, guess what? 2024 is now, and I can feel inner peace in this moment. I don't have to wait until I'm better at meditating. I don't need to wait until I'm a fucking spiritual guru. I can literally feel inner peace right now. Even when there is chaos going on in the external world, you have that power to stop, acknowledge what you're feeling, acknowledge what you're thinking, and choose. Do I have to get myself so worked up about this right now? And then you can just let it go. I'll give you an example. I'm really proud of myself actually for this. So yesterday I got an email. So my building emailed me and said that my January rent check didn't get cleared. So they were requesting a new check. And I these are triggers for me, especially I think money is a trigger for a lot of people. There's a lot of fear surrounding money. So I immediately started to feel my belly start to feel a little bit sour and nervous and butterfly, but not in a good way. I started to panic. But then I realized, wait, I have enough money. I can just rewrite a check. Everything's okay. And I'm so proud of myself how I handled that. And I didn't let it get me all worked up. Ha! Yay. Anyways, my camera's gonna die, so I'm gonna cut this off now. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. Please let me know if you did. Give me a little rating on Apple Podcasts. Subscribe to my YouTube if you haven't already. Give me a little comment about what you thought about this episode. And try generating more presence in your everyday life. All right, I love you. Mwah. Take care. And I'll see you in the next one.